This is something, again, that's not widely known. A Judaic community in Ethiopia, they say that their ancestors brought the Ark of the Covenant to Ethiopia.
We're told this in great depth in the Bible and how dangerous that energy is. Well, this concept of winged figures is also very much part of the ancient Egyptian heritage.
So, what exactly is this Ark of the Covenant that everyone keeps talking about? Well, the Bible describes it as a pretty impressive piece of religious furniture. Imagine a chest made of wood but completely overlaid with gold. And that's not all. It had a fancy lid with two golden angels facing each other. But its importance wasn't about its bling factor. Inside this chest were the stone tablets containing the 10 Commandments, the foundation of the agreement between God and his chosen people. The Ark wasn't just a box, it was the holiest of holies. It represented God's presence among them. The Bible even gives super specific instructions on how it should be built and handled. Only certain priests were allowed to carry it, and they had to use poles, so no direct touching. Initially, the Ark was kept in a portable tent-like structure called the Tabernacle during their desert travels. Later, it got a permanent upgrade when King Solomon built his temple in Jerusalem, where it rested in the super-sacred inner sanctum. For centuries, the Ark of the Covenant has been a source of endless fascination. This legendary golden chest, as described in the Bible, housed the tablets of the 10 Commandments and symbolized God's presence among his people. But since its disappearance after the Babylonian conquest of Jerusalem, its fate has been shrouded in mystery. Now imagine the headlines. Scientists have pinpointed the Ark's location, ready to reveal one of the greatest archaeological discoveries ever. Or have they? The world of Ark of the Covenant theories is a tangled web of historical speculation, passionate belief, and some outright wild ideas. While serious scholars generally focus on the likely destruction of the Ark in antiquity, the excitement of uncovering this legendary artifact leads to an array of persistent, if often far-fetched, claims about its whereabouts. Let's dive into the supposed secret locations, and why the fascination with the Ark refuses to die. Jerusalem, the heart of the Ark's story, remains a prime focus of speculation. The Temple Mount, the site of the ancient Jewish temples, is a maze of tunnels and chambers. Could the Ark be hidden in these unexplored depths? Some historical anecdotes lend a sliver of credence to this idea. Prior to the Roman siege in 70 AD, Jewish priests might have taken extraordinary measures to protect the Ark. This opens the door to legends of secret passages and hidden vaults beneath the sacred site. For the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the question of the Ark's location is settled. They believe it resides in the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Aksum. According to their tradition, the Ark was brought to Ethiopia by Menelik I, the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. The Ark is never displayed and is closely guarded, making verification of this claim impossible. However, even the possibility of the Ark's existence in Ethiopia holds immense religious importance as a tangible connection to the object at the heart of Jewish and Christian traditions. Where mainstream archaeology often reaches a dead end, conspiracy theories rush in. One popular narrative involves the Knights Templar, medieval warrior monks who amassed wealth and influence during the Crusades. Did they uncover the Ark in Jerusalem and bring it back to Europe? Though there's no historical support. This idea fuels thrilling stories like the Da Vinci Code, where secret societies and hidden lineages protect the Ark and its supposed extraordinary power. Beyond the Templars, other groups like the Freemasons get drawn into the orbit of the Ark of the Covenant. Conspiracy theorists often imagine these societies as possessing esoteric knowledge, wielding the Ark as a tool of influence or hiding it for their own ends. Some theories go fully into the realm of the fantastical. Think of the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the Ark possesses terrifying destructive might. These ideas stem from biblical passages warning of the danger of approaching the Ark improperly. Could it be a weapon, a repository of supernatural energy? For some, these exaggerated readings open the door to outlandish speculations. The supposed locations of the Ark take us on a global tour. Some theories link the Ark to the Lemba people of southern Africa, who have cultural practices and genetic markers suggesting a possible Middle Eastern origin. Did their ancestors bring the Ark with them on a long-ago migration? Other legends place the Ark in Rome, plundered by the legions who sacked Jerusalem in 70 AD, and rumored to lie hidden beneath the churches or even within the Vatican's vast archives. Stranger still, some claims take the Ark off-planet entirely, painting its origins as extraterrestrial technology gifted to ancient humanity. The classic rectangular chest shape sometimes draws comparisons to Egyptian ritual boxes as well. The Ark's allure persists in its unique blend of power, danger, and the thrill of an unresolved mystery. But where does this perception of power come from? And how has it shaped our understanding of the Ark across time? The Bible itself is the source of the Ark's awe-inspiring reputation. It's not just an object, it's described as a conduit for divine presence. The elaborate rituals for handling it and the stories of dire consequences for touching it, like the unfortunate Uzzah, reinforce the idea that this wasn't merely a fancy storage container. While mainstream science rejects the notion of the Ark as a literal weapon, it doesn't stop some outlandish theories. Ideas about electrical charges, radioactivity, or unknown materials try to explain away the Ark's biblical effects. Whether credible or not, these attempts add to the Ark's mystique. There's always that lingering question in the back of one's mind: what if? Fascinatingly, the concept of sacred chests isn't unique to the Israelites. Ancient Egypt brimmed with portable deity shrines, and other cultures used similar boxes in religious processions. Could the Ark, rather than being wholly unique, be part of a broader cultural tradition from its time period? This adds another layer of complexity and historical grounding to the Ark's story. Even in other Abrahamic faiths, echoes of the Ark's significance linger. The Quran's references to a sacred chest with relics could be a trace of shared tradition. The Baha'i faith goes even further, transforming the Ark entirely into a metaphor for the divine knowledge revealed by prophets throughout history. This shows how potent the Ark's core symbolism remains. Over time, did the Ark shift from a physical object to a symbol of the covenant itself? Replicas might have existed, powerful in their spiritual weight even if no longer containing the original tablets. Medieval art depicts the Ark with dramatic flair, influencing modern representations despite often diverging from biblical descriptions. And of course, pop culture loves the Ark. Remember Indiana Jones and his face-melting encounter? It's the perfect mix of historical enigma and a touch of the supernatural, a guaranteed recipe for a thrilling adventure. This potent mix of history, mystery, and the sheer potential for thrilling narratives keeps the Ark's flame alive. But why does the Ark of the Covenant hold such power over our imaginations? Here's the key. Historical gaps exist. Its disappearance during a turbulent time leaves ample space for speculation. Did it perish? Does it lay waiting to be unearthed? The uncertainty is a blank canvas where theories can easily take root. Whether one approaches the Ark from a perspective of faith or historical curiosity, it represents something profound, a connection to the divine, a symbol of God's covenant with the Israelites, or a relic of a bygone era. This emotional and spiritual dimension adds fuel to the quest. Secret societies, hidden clues, quests against the odds, all these elements make for gripping tales. The Ark is embedded in a storytelling tradition that, while not always historically accurate, is undeniably captivating. Deep down, we are drawn to the unsolved, the mysterious. The Ark, straddling history and legend, is the ultimate archaeological puzzle that may never have a definitive answer. While scientists discover makes for a thrilling headline, it's crucial to inject a dose of realism into the Ark of the Covenant narrative. Most reputable archaeologists view the Babylonian destruction of the First Temple in 587 BC as the most likely end of the Ark. While not impossible, the survival of an intricately crafted, gold-covered wooden object over millennia, through battles and sieges, seems improbable. Locations based on legends often lack physical evidence to support archaeological exploration. Claims need tangible proof to transition from speculation to scientific process. Additionally, many of the places rumored to hold the Ark are actively used for worship. The search cannot come at the expense of violating religious sensitivities or disrupting communities built on deeply held beliefs. The Ark of the Covenant sits fascinatingly on the line between history, faith, and the enduring human desire to uncover the extraordinary. It's unlikely that any future discovery will fully satisfy everyone. After all, the enduring power of the Ark rests partly in its enigma. Is there a chance the Ark is still out there? Perhaps. But the true treasure might lie in what this ongoing search reveals about ourselves, our need for stories, our reverence for the past, and our unending capacity for wonder.
Conqueror of empires. In the annals of history, one name stands above all others: Alexander the Great had conquered and created the largest land-based empire the world has ever seen.
Picture this: the legendary Alexander the Great dead at the young age of 32. Instead of leaving clear instructions about his final resting place, he left behind a mystery that has baffled explorers and historians for centuries. His tomb, often referred to as the Holy Grail of archaeology, has been the subject of countless searches, all ending in frustration. So what happened to Alexander's body after his death? The story goes like this. After Alexander passed away in 323 BCE, his powerful friends started fighting over his vast empire, eventually tearing it apart to build their own kingdoms. One of these friends, Ptolemy Soter, wasn't a major player during Alexander's reign, but he eventually gained control of Egypt and established a dynasty that lasted for centuries. Now, the details about Alexander's burial wishes are murky. His appointed successor planned to send the body back to Macedon, but it never arrived. Ptolemy, seeing an opportunity, intercepted the body in Syria and redirected it to Egypt. At the time, Ptolemy was ruling from Memphis, as Alexandria, the city he would later make famous, was still under construction. This meant Alexander got a temporary tomb near Memphis while his final resting place was being figured out. Fast forward to the 19th century, and archaeologists stumble upon a temple dedicated to Pharaoh Nectanebo II near Saqqara, south of Memphis. This pharaoh was the last native ruler of Egypt before the Persians took over in 340 BCE. Some archaeologists, like Andrew Chugg, believe this temple might have been Alexander's original temporary tomb in Memphis. Here's why. The temple was relatively new when Ptolemy needed a place to bury Alexander, and it was likely the most recent grand non-Persian building around. Plus, there was even a spare royal sarcophagus that belonged to Nectanebo. It seems like the perfect temporary resting place for a legendary conqueror, right next to the seat of Ptolemy's power. Adding fuel to the fire, archaeologists also found statues dating back to Ptolemy's reign near the temple, suggesting some royal attention was paid to the site. There's even an ancient, far-fetched story claiming Nectanebo was Alexander's father, which might have sprung up due to Alexander's connection to the pharaoh's tomb. The Soma, Alexander's grand tomb, was once a major tourist attraction, drawing visitors from all corners of the world. But then, it vanished without a trace. The last confirmed sighting of the tomb was during a visit by the Roman Emperor Caracalla in 215 CE. He even took some souvenirs but supposedly replaced them with his own gifts. After that, mentions of the tomb and Alexander's body become scarce. There are a few hints, though. A writer named Libanius claims to have seen Alexander's mummy on display around 390 CE. This timeline coincides with the Theodosian decrees, which shut down pagan temples across the Roman Empire. The Soma, being a shrine dedicated to the deified Alexander, likely fell victim to these laws. St. Cyril of Alexandria even mentions the stripping of treasures from Alexander's cult centers around this time, though the tomb itself isn't explicitly mentioned. Fast forward to the 400 CE, and another writer, St. John Chrysostom, drops a bombshell. Both the body and the tomb are now lost. Finding the tomb is no easy feat. Alexandria is a bustling city today, making large-scale excavations nearly impossible. Plus, there's a chance the tomb was simply destroyed over time, or even swallowed by the shifting sea levels. Another complication: was Alexander even buried in the Soma in the first place? It wasn't uncommon for bodies to be moved in ancient Egypt. Maybe Alexander was relocated to a secret location, making the search for the Soma itself a bit of a red herring. So, the quest for Alexander's tomb is more like a multi-pronged approach. One path involves finding the ancient crossroads of Alexandria, which might offer clues to the Soma's location. Local legends also point to a specific area, but without concrete evidence, it's like chasing shadows. The hunt for Alexander's tomb has led treasure hunters and archaeologists on a wild goose chase for centuries, with several contenders emerging along the way. One such contender is the Nebi Daniel Mosque, located just a stone's throw from the suspected location of the ancient crossroads. Back in 1850, a famous archaeologist even tried but failed to get permission to excavate there. While scholars doubt the mosque is the actual tomb, its claim likely stems from a genuine historical memory of the Soma being nearby. Across town, the Attarine Mosque also throws its hat in the ring, having attracted the attention of Napoleon's archaeologists in the 18th century. They didn't find Alexander, but they did stumble upon a repurposed sarcophagus. Guess whose? Nectanebo II, the pharaoh who ruled Egypt before the Persians took over. This discovery is intriguing. How did the Atarine Mosque end up with this specific sarcophagus, and so close to the estimated location of the tomb? It seems like more than just a coincidence. While the Atarine Mosque isn't the Soma itself, the presence of the sarcophagus and its proximity to the suspected location are promising signs. The search, however, doesn't stop in Alexandria. Some have ventured further afield to the Siwa oasis, where Alexander was declared the son of a god. However, there's no historical evidence to support a tomb there, and recent claims of its discovery have been dismissed by experts as more interested in boosting tourism than historical accuracy. The search for Alexander's tomb takes another unexpected turn, this time heading back to his homeland Macedon. After all, it was originally supposed to be his final resting place. One possibility emerged in 1977 with the discovery of an ancient tomb at Aigai, which is modern-day Vagina, Greece. The excitement was real, fueled by artifacts dating back to Alexander's time. However, the plot twist. The tomb belonged to none other than Alexander's father, Philip II. While not exactly Alexander, it's certainly the closest archaeologists have come, minus the actual conqueror himself. Another hopeful candidate, the Castor tomb discovered in 2012 at Amphipolis, also turned out to be a dead end. No remains of Alexander were found, and the artifacts pointed away from any connection to him. So it seems Egypt remains the front runner in the tomb hunt. Or does it? Enter archaeologist Andrew Chugg with a bold theory. Alexander might be in Venice under the mistaken identity of St. Mark the Evangelist. Hold on, you might be thinking, how can that be? Well, here's the twist. Traditionally, St. Mark, credited with writing the Gospel of Mark, was believed to have been martyred in Alexandria around 60 CE, with his body destroyed by fire. However, a curious twist emerged. A 4th century text claiming otherwise turned out to be a 6th century forgery. Then, in 392 CE, St. Jerome's writings mention St. Mark's body being present in Alexandria. Here's the suspicious part. This miraculous reappearance happens right after the Theodosian decrees forced the closure of pagan temples, including the possible destruction of Alexander's tomb. Coincidence? Maybe, but Alexandria is a big city, but there's more. The supposed tomb of St. Mark lies near the modern St. Mark's Coptic Orthodox Cathedral, conveniently situated just 200 meters north of the suspected location of Alexander's tomb. So we have Alexander vanishing around 390 CE as pagan sites were shutting down. Then, poof, St. Mark's body appears in the same area just 2 years later, despite centuries of claiming it was destroyed. Chugg doesn't stop at just proposing a wild theory. He also offers some intriguing evidence to back it up. He suggests that Alexander's tomb was simply given a makeover during the Theodosian decrees to avoid destruction, transforming into the tomb of St. Mark. Here's where things get even more interesting. Venetian merchants, apparently unaware of the switcheroo, supposedly stole these St. Mark remains in the 9th century, smuggling them out of Alexandria and eventually building a church in Venice to house them, the present-day Basilica di San Marco. The timing and location of these disappearances and reappearances are certainly suggestive, but Chugg goes a step further. During renovations of the basilica in the 1960s, a peculiar piece of stone carving was found. The stone originated from the Eastern Mediterranean and depicted imagery strongly linked to Alexander's Macedonian heritage, a shield with his royal house's star and a special spear used by his army. Recent analysis suggests this fragment was part of a sarcophagus casing, but its size didn't match any known sarcophagi in the basilica or any Macedonian artifacts. However, it did match one specific sarcophagus perfectly, Nectanebo II's, down to the millimeter. Chugg argues that this piece is proof the Venetians unknowingly took a chunk of Alexander's actual tomb when they stole the supposed remains of St. Mark. Intriguing, right? Reviewing the evidence, Chugg's theory, while seemingly outlandish, starts to make a surprising amount of sense. It connects several previously puzzling dots in the long search for Alexander's tomb. According to Chugg, Alexander was initially buried in Nectanebo II's sarcophagus in Memphis. Then both the body and the sarcophagus were moved to the Soma. The Ptolemies even built a special casing for the sarcophagus to protect it for centuries. The tomb remained undisturbed for over 700 years until the Theodosian decrees forced its transformation into a Christian monument dedicated to St. Mark to escape religious persecution. Alexander's body vanished at the same time and place where St. Mark supposedly appeared, and local memory of Alexander's tomb being nearby persisted despite the fabricated story of St. Mark. Fast forward centuries later, the Venetians, believing they were taking the remains of their patron saint, stole the body and a chunk of the Ptolemaic casing. Back in Alexandria, the empty sarcophagus ended up in the Atarine Mosque, where its connection to Alexander's burial was somehow remembered. So, if Chug's theory holds water, the famous tomb of Alexander the Great might still be buried beneath the streets of Alexandria, roughly where local legends and archaeological studies have pointed all along. However, Alexander himself has likely been gone for over 1,000 years, possibly resting, ironically, within the Basilica di San Marco, mistaken for a saint. Unfortunately, confirming this theory would require examining the remains in Venice, something the Catholic Church and the city are unlikely to allow anytime soon, leaving the debate unresolved for the foreseeable future.